Assalamu alaikum, grade 9. Faiza Nadeem is standing here in front of you, wishing and praying that all of you are happy and safe. I have brought you your English lesson today. And over here, all of us are wishing that you are paying your due attention towards your academics. Padhna is essential, padhna is important. So what we are going to do today? Let's find out. Ji bachcho, what is the board telling you? The board is telling you that we are going to do daffodils. और daffodils जो आपका यूनिट 5 है उसके आज हम करेंगे तमाम के तमाम राइटिंग स्किल्स के क्वेश्चंस. ज़्यादा नहीं है, सिर्फ 2 हैं. एक क्वेश्चन आपको पैराफ्रेजिंग कह रहा है और एक क्वेश्चन आपको समरी राइटिंग कह रहा है. पैराफ्रेजिंग और समरी राइटिंग इसलिए आपके साथ अलहदा से दोबारा कर रही हूँ, हालांकि डैफोडिल्स के सिलसिले के फर्स्ट लेक्चर में कर चुकी थी, इसलिए कि बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पोएम है और ये ज़रूर आपके पेपर में आती है. तो स्टैंजा 1 की जो पैराफ्रेजिंग है उसमें कहाँ से बिगिन होता है? बिगिन वहाँ से होता है जब द पोएट इज सेइंग दैट आई वांटेड लोनली एज अ क्लाउड. तो यू स्टार्ट राइटिंग इन सच अ मैनर that the poet was wandering around like a cloud in the sky that floats over vales and hills. Likewise, the poet was wandering around the open areas. अब मैंने आपको phrases लिख के दिए हुए हैं, words हैं और phrases हैं. इनको पूरी continuous writing में turn करना is your job. I am not going to write the entire thing down and expect my grade 9 to be spoon-fed. अपनी effort, अपनी मेहनत, ठीक है, अपना style, that is going to give you extra marks, extra credit, right? So the poet was wandering around over a large area, over a large land, when all at once he saw a host of golden daffodils that stretched along the bay of a river, and they were growing besides the lake and beneath the trees. The poet was mesmerized. The poet was filled with bliss. The poet's heart was elated, exhilarated when he saw those daffodils tossing their heads and dancing in the breeze. Stanza 2. Over here in this stanza, the poet says that the daffodils were endless. Their line was endless along the margin of the bay, and they were so abundant, they were so many, they were so numerous that he saw 10,000 in one glance, and they were twinkling and they were sparkling just like the stars in the Milky Way, and their heads were dancing to and fro, fluttering and moving with the soft breeze of the morning. ये आपका स्टैंजा 2 हो गया, लेकिन दोनों की पैराफ्रेजिंग से पहले आपने ये याद रखना है कि आपने रेफरेंस ज़रूर देना है. रेफरेंस कैसे देंगे? रेफरेंस हम ऐसे लेंगे कि हम ये कहेंगे कि दिस स्टैंजा has been or is taken from the poem written by. इधर आपने पोएम का नाम लिखना है, इधर आपने पोएट का नाम लिखना है, ठीक है. ऐसे आपने जरूर अपना रेफरेंस शुरू करना है. Let's move on to stanza 3. Stanza 3. In stanza 3, the poet says that the dance of the daffodils surpasses that of the dance of the waves. The waves are also enjoying their life. They were also dancing in the morning. They were also happy to see the sun come out. But the daffodils' dance were far better or far superior than that of the waves. the poet's heart was filled with joy when he looked upon that scene. He was happy and joyful, and his heart was filled with bliss in the company of the daffodils. His heart was elated, he was exhilarated in the company of the daffodils. And this fascinating and captivating company of the daffodils made or compelled the poet to gaze upon them for a long time. But at that point, the poet was unaware of the fact that the wealth he is getting from looking at those daffodils, he was getting a wealth of the memories that are going to remain forever and ever with him while he was looking at the daffodils. 3 stanzas are done. There is another stanza. Let's do that stanza as well, and then we can move on to the summary writing. Stanza 4. In the stanza 4, the poet is saying that whenever he is in a very thoughtful or an empty mood and he sits back on his couch, then what happens is the image of those beautiful daffodils, that image fell upon his inward eye, and he could see them fluttering and dancing in the breeze in front of his eyes. That was the wealth the poet spoke about. That was the wealth the poet has gathered when he looked at this beautiful scene. They say that it was the highest joy that the poet has felt, that the poet has achieved, and among all his loneliness, his heart is filled with bliss, his heart is filled with content because of the memory of the daffodils that were dancing and fluttering in the breeze. Right? So ये आपका स्टैंजा 4 का भी पैराफ्रेजिंग हो गई. अब आपसे कहा जा रहा है राइटिंग स्किल्स में कि आपने इसकी समरी लिखनी है. समरी के फर्स्ट पैराग्राफ में तो आप इंट्रोडक्शन देंगे. इंट्रोडक्शन में आप क्या लिखेंगे? इंट्रोडक्शन में आप देंगे नेम ऑफ द पोएट, ठीक है, उसके बाद नेम ऑफ द पोएम, उसके बाद आप ये लिख सकते हैं, ठीक है, डेट ऑफ बर्थ एंड डेट ऑफ डेथ, ठीक है. उसके बाद आप क्या लिखेंगे? उसके बाद आप लिखेंगे कि विलियम वर्ड्सवर्थ इज कॉल्ड एज द पोएट ऑफ नेचर, ठीक है. ऑल हिज poem speaks about the content, the bliss that one can derive from the natural scenes, और ये भी कि the poet belongs to the era of romanticism. इनके डिफरेंट एराज थे पोएट्री राइटिंग के. यू वांट टू राइट अबाउट इट, यू कैन राइट, और यू कैन से दैट along with the natural poet he was a romantic poet as well. ठीक है, कोई हर्ज नहीं है एक्स्ट्रा इन्फॉर्मेशन देने, ठीक है. फिर आप बताओगे इन दिस पोएम द पोएट स्पीक्स अबाउट द content, happiness, bliss that he has derived by looking at the daffodils. ठीक है. इसके बाद आपकी बॉडी आ जाएगी. बॉडी में क्या लिखोगे? बॉडी में आप बेसिकली पैराफ्रेजिंग जो हमने अभी की है उस पैराफ्रेजिंग को छोटा छोटा करके लिख दोगे. लाइक द पोएट वाज वॉन्डरिंग व्हेन ही सॉ द daffodils and they were dancing and so on and so forth. अभी हमने सारी पैराफ्रेजिंग डिस्कस की है, वो पैराफ्रेजिंग आप सारी इसके अंदर लिख सकते हो, ठीक है, वो सारी आप इसके अंदर लिख सकते हो. उसके बाद आ जाता है आपका कंक्लूजन. कंक्लूजन में आप क्या लिखोगे? कंक्लूजन में आप जो स्टैंजा 4 है ना वो लिखोगे कि द पोएट had not realized that what wealth he had gained, the poet has not realized that what wealth he had gained when he was looking at the daffodils. What bliss, what content he has gathered when he was looking at the scene of the daffodils. As the poet says in his poem, and then my heart with pleasure fills and dances with the daffodils. That the poet's heart was filled with pleasure and it danced with the daffodils as soon as it looked at the beautiful scene of the daffodils. ठीक है, ये आप इसको ऐसे कंक्लूड करोगे और आखिर में एक लाइन आप ऐसे लिख सकते हो कि the poet over here is giving his tribute to nature and its manifestations in all its glory. The poet has described the exciting beauty that is present in the nature, raw and fresh, for us to derive our happiness, for us to be happy, and the purifying impact of the nature on the souls of the human beings. As in the word of John Keats, a thing of beauty is a joy forever. ये आपकी पूरी समरी हो जाएगी. समरी लाजमी लिखनी है, यूजुअली पेपर में आती है. बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पोम है, इसलिए मैंने इसको बड़े आराम से 2 दफ़ा पैराफ्रेज करके आपको सुना दिया है. समरी भी बहुत आसान करके आपको गाइडलाइन दे दी है, लिखना आपने खुद है. ठीक है, फायजा नदीम को इजाज़त दो. इंशाल्लाह we'll meet again in the next lecture with the objectives of the poem Daffodils. जब तक के लिए नमाज पढ़ो, अम्मी अबू के फरमाबरदार रहो, बदतमीजी नहीं करो और हम सबको अपनी दुआ में याद रखो. अल्लाह हाफिज़.